Happy Wednesday on 222.9 The Mothership. I've just stopped in real quick. That was music from Angie Stone with Vertical Hold, Libations to My Sorrow, but seems you're much too busy these days. And I just want to give you a quick few pointers about how to make this Mercury retrograde useful.
Wednesdays, Mercury, Uranus, purples, iiiYansaje Oya, iiiYansaje Nana Buruku, maroons, exotic voices of the mothers. Welcome to Wednesdays on the Mothership, 222.9. Beam up.
Alrighty then, love and light everybody. As always, I am iiiYansaje Muse, the Black Madonna of the airwaves, bringing you the music, the mystic, and the mojo on Radio for the Cosmos, 222.9 The Mothership. And that was music from Angie Stone with Vertical Hold. Seems you're much too busy these days. And now we're listening to the sounds of Shantae Moore's Way You from the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. All on your Mercury and Uranus ruled Oya venerated Wednesday. And here on the Mothership, Wednesdays are all about teaching more about the astrology and quasars. So let's get into it. How can we make Mercury retrograde more useful? For starters, Mercury busted the moonwalk of first one of 2026 on 226. I found that interesting. In the 12th house of Pisces. So this retrograde is speaking more to your subconscious mind. That real deep inner rewiring that is needed for that new beginning that the 1 year essence of 2026 has come to bring into your being. I know a lot of people tend to freak out a lot when Mercury goes into retrograde, but actually, you can make Mercury retrograde work for you. Very, very useful, especially if you are a Gemini or a Virgo, because Mercury is your ruling planet. And this is the planet of communications, which is why communication gets tripped up while Mercury is busting the moonwalk. Because with Mercury moving backwards, communication lines can get crossed. Mercury affects a lot of technology, and that is a sign from the universe that it may be time to take a break from all the technology and carve that out in your schedule for your everyday life. Mercury retrograde does bring back estranged relationships, typically for one of three reasons. Reason number one, when some people return to your life in Mercury retrograde, it's like a pop quiz from the universe. If these are typically the people that have been very toxic, that have been very painful enigmas in your life. And these are people that come back to see if you need to learn that lesson about self-respect again. And that's where you forgive, but I would advise you don't reopen the door. Not just because this person is probably going to cause a lot more hell, but it's you telling the universe that you haven't released a past cycle. Reason number two, that estranged people return to you during Mercury retrograde. And it isn't just exes, it's former friends, it's college people, it's former co-workers, even estranged family members, not just romantic partners. So reason number two, you reconnect with Mercury, people you haven't seen or heard from in a while during Mercury retrograde, is because something needs to happen there to bring both parties to peace. So this is where you may cross paths with someone you've bumped heads with in the past. You make peace and then you go on about your separate journeys. Sometimes that needs to happen in order for both parties to come to a space of peace. And that's the second reason why people return to you when Mercury retrograde is happening. The third reason is the rarest reason of all, but it does happen. The third reason that estranged people return to you during Mercury retrograde is because sometimes both parties have grown to a level where they're now an energetic match. And because they're now an energetic match, now you two's journeys are designed to be a part of each other's lives in the future. So be open to receive all three. Trust your discernment to tell you the difference. Now, how do you get into the real juicy meat of making Mercury retrograde useful? Find your placements of Mercury retrograde in your natal chart. When you find where Mercury is in your natal chart, that's when you get a more personalized perspective on your personal individual relationship with Mercury. So when it goes into retrograde, you already kind of know what to do instead of trying to keep the same routine going. And Mercury retrogrades are also good for fasting, meditating, reflecting on the past, carving out new, details of things where you know what to release and what to build on, because Mercury is the energy of the messenger of the gods, or in the Orisha tradition we call the messenger of the gods Eshu. Rome calls him Mercury, the Greeks call him Hermes. But this is all about the essence of how are your thoughts, how are your actions communicating with the heavens. What are you telling the universe that you want to manifest, not in what you're saying, but in what you're doing and how you're living. And this is why Mercury retrograde slows things down, because it's actually a period of time that's good to reflect. Now, interestingly, this retrograde is retrograding in the house of Pisces. That's the very last house. Okay? So this is why so much finality is being met with this particular Mercury retrograde. This is why many of you are feeling lighter. This is why many of you may be feeling the urge not to reach back for anything. All of these things are because this Mercury retrograde is cleaning out the very last house of the subconscious. So this is where a lot of hard finalities are going to happen here. And a lot of this is why some estranged relationships reconnect during Mercury retrograde so that you can bring closure. Okay, confirmation from spirit, we got a ding. Okay, so interestingly, this retrograde is going to end on the last day of winter solstice and the last day of Pisces season, and that's March 20th. So Mercury is going to go direct right when spring equinox hits. So make this Mercury retrograde useful by using this time to reflect, make peace, create every closure you need to, and areas where you will never be revisiting again, because Pisces is the last house. And this is the house that this first Mercury retrograde came into, because 2026 in itself is a 1 year. That is a year of restarts. That's a year of resets. And Mercury retrograde, actually, every planetary retrograde comes to assist us in some kind of way when we know how to work with it. Case in point, today, March 11th, 2026, Jupiter's retrograde just ended today. And it was retrograding in the house of Cancer, the crab. And this is why we had so much energy about self love, self nurture, taking care of yourself, and aligning yourself with the energy of what you're trying to manifest. And this tied in with Mercury's retrograde in Pisces. This is bringing about a lot of deep reflections of things that need to be released in order for new things to come in, what needs to die so that new things can be reborn. And Mercury's retrograde in Pisces is going to bring you a lot of deep introspection about that. So when things start getting really trippy, ask yourself, what am I communicating to the heavens, and what are the heavens trying to communicate with me? And when you make these planetary retrogrades useful, they turn out to be their own little holiday fasting seasons throughout the year. I have personally learned to enjoy them. If you want more insight on this, then by all means, please give me a call on the Mothership's Mentorship and Guidance Hotline at 314 200 0368. 8. And I will be right back. And I'm just going to do a quick energy read on how we can use these retrograde energies deeper than we already have. This is 222.9 Mothership, and this is a special edition, your Wednesday daily piece of knowledge that I like to call the Malbec Planetarium. Be a question on the heart is the spirit's thirst for clarity. Readings, consultations, I call them intuitive counseling sessions, but you know what I mean. They're kind of like gumbo or peach cobbler. You may have tried many, but you haven't had mine. I can say I met the divine when I was about 9. Ever since I was 16, I found myself wondering, do I have an invisible "please come tell me your business" sign taped to my forehead? Then one day I was sitting at the bus stop at a crossroad, and I had the audacity to ask the goddess, why was I even sent to earth? And I became an ethereal, intuitive counselor. And the universe has been answering that question over and over again, one phone call at a time, for the last 9 years. From there, in between sessions, I began to relentlessly apply, align, and study the ways of the stars and of the ancients. 3 years in, Orisha priestesshood to Oya came knocking. Hence the Iya in the name iiiYansaje, iiiYansa, an Oya praise name. Oya is the Orisha who brings radical transformation and change. Make no mistake about it now, baby. I am no soothsayer. I am no fortune teller. I'm not a private investigator. I don't cast love spells. I'm not an emotional punching bag. I'm not a spiritual trash dump. I am not a haven for jinn spirits. I give guidance with clarity, with wisdom, with love, with truth. I unlock keys to your spiritual growth and your highest destiny according to your unique design. Ready for some evolutionary change? Let's talk. Flavorful, elite, divine guidance and wisdom, broken down to the practical to bring voyage change into your life for the better. Call 314-200-0368. That's 314-200-0368 for spiritual mentorship and guidance readings by iiiYansaje Muse. All proceeds go to 222.9, the Mothership, internet radio for the road less traveled. Beam up. And we're back. So let's get into some energy here. I got my prism deck where we're going to look at what chakras we might need to look at for this Mercury retrograde season. And that's between now and the 26th. So we got 2 more weeks of this retrograde groove. And then we're going to pull a black rose off the vine to see where this energy is coming from. All right. So there's the question. What energies are most of us in for this retrograde? Okay, so what energy do we need to look at? Oh, I'm liking this already. Love. Okay, so with this Mercury retrograde, this is going to bring back a lot of things in your subconscious pertaining to love. Then love isn't just your intimate connections. Love is also your your friends, your family, maybe even your craft, or something that you may have left behind, a skill that needs resurrecting. This Mercury retrograde is calling you to center your focus on the things you love. Because when you build on the things you love, you build on your divine connection. And that is going to build the things in your life that last. What else do we need to look at? What challenging energies are coming about this retrograde energy? Okay. Up, look at that. Same color, completely different energy. Disruption. Okay, so Mercury retrograde energy does bring disruption, but that disruption doesn't have to be a bad thing. The disruption only comes to show you what kinks you may need to iron out so that your future can be more filled with the things that you love. Because you're being called to surrender to whatever this disruption is, because this disruption is connected to a change of direction in your life. And the change of direction in your life is actually headed to something better, because the Most High never asks you to completely surrender and change your pattern of movement. And underneath the bottom of the deck, we got magic. Okay, so with the magic card showing up, I really don't like to give too many references to people doing love magic, but in some cases, love magic has been disrupted, and the Mercury retrograde energy is rewinding the clock back so you can maybe see where you were manipulated, surrender to the divine, and move in a different direction. Also, this disruption was also designed for you to unearth magic that you didn't even know you had, because everyone has magic. Okay, but notice that the only two colors here connected to actual chakras are the green for the heart and the purple for the third eye. And Mercury retrogrades are designed to make you reflect on certain things so that you can change directions. This is why technology messes up. This is why it's not a good idea to start anything new. This is why people from the past keep popping up out of the woodworks, because Mercury retrograde is a time to reflect. When you surrender to that energy, retrograde energy becomes very useful to you as opposed to something to oppose. So, when it comes to building your life on the things that you love, you've been called to surrender to certain disruptions and go with the flow, because in order to unlock your magic, you have to trust your intuition more than your normal routine. Ashe? All right. So let's take a look at where this disruption in love and movement and causing this surrender. Let's take a look at where that came from. And that's where we're going to pull a black rose off the vine. All right. For many, this disruption is an interruption of evasion. Many of you may be not necessarily going partying, but I'm seeing doing things to distract yourself from what your higher missions and goals are. And your ancestors love you enough to disrupt that flow. Children. With the children card, I'm picking up some sort of return to innocence, a reflection of innocence. I'm not seeing actual physical children here. I'm seeing a need to return to your inner child in a way that's more balanced than partying. And this is where you have to build on the things that you've always loved, because that connects your inner child to your current day adult. And at the bottom of the deck, we have shattered, which means that whatever the disruption was, interrupted something on a very deep level that caused heartbreak, and it was something connected to love. But this was something that had to be shattered in order for you to take your new direction and unlock your magic. So allow yourself to heal your heart chakras and your third eye chakras the most during this retrograde season because Pisces deals a lot with emotion and intuition. So, those are the two things that Mercury retrograde is calling you to focus on: your heart and your intuition, because emotions are Piscean energy, and that's where Mercury is busting the moonwalk. Alrighty then, there's my general message. Should you need a personal read, give me a call on the Mothership's Mentorship and Guidance Hotline at 314-200-0368. I'm iiiYansaje Muse, and this is a special report on how to make Mercury retrograde useful. Be my. Don't make me land a tornado where I could have been a cool breeze. Oh yeah. The Uranus Collection, brought to you by the Mothership Mystic Boutiq. All proceeds go to 222.9, the Mothership Internet Radio for the road less traveled. Beam up. And we are back. So, thank you for allowing me to share this special report with you all. And I do the day to day cosmic weather forecast each and every night at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And also, the podcast gives you all the back episodes where you can catch the forecast if you miss the 9 p.m. or 6 a.m. run. And as always, make sure you follow me each and every Wednesday on the Malbec Planetarium to keep the 2229 updates on astrology and what's going on in the quasars. But getting back to the 24/7 groove, there couldn't be a song more fitting than the next one that's up on the playlist. We just got done talking about Mercury retrograde, how to make it useful, and dealing with all the people that try to come back. Here's music from Macy Gray with Strange Behavior. I'll see y'all tonight on the forecast. This is 222.9, the Mothership. Beam up.
Wednesdays, Mercury, Uranus, purples, Ibashe Oya, Ibashe Nana Buruku, maroons, exotic voices of the mothers. Welcome to Wednesdays on the Mothership, 222.9. Beam up.